21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
When I came into this flower shop, it was doing about 600. So it was an acquisition. It was doing about 600,000 in revenue, and it was losing money. And we brought it to 9 million in revenue. And then we opened a second location, a third location. All of those started to do very well. And then from there, we started a franchise. So that business was close to kind of going bankrupt or closing down. And it was a really fun time to come in and try to turn it around. Hello, my name is Michael Jacobson. I'm the CEO of the French Florist brand. I've been running the company for the past 7 years. I fell backwards into the industry. I didn't know that I would be here, but every day that I spend on it, I fall more and more in love with it. I'm really fed up with corporate America. I'm really fed up with the floral industry and how antiquated it is. We have a deeper why, we have a deeper mission than just what meets the eye of a normal corporation, which is to make profit. I think profit's a great thing, but it's a means to our greater why, to fuel our mission even further. And so we've been working on that for the past 7 years. We're not slowing down anytime soon. Most companies out there, especially the big corporate ones, they say, we're the number one, we have the best customer service, we have the best quality products, we have the number one client experience, blah, blah, blah. Super, super boring. Who cares? As a matter of fact, it's so boring. And I think that the companies that say those kinds of things, they're probably not the ones that deliver those kind of results too. And it's not up to the company to say those things. The marketplace or the client gets to give them that reputation. That reputation is earned. It's not told. Okay. So I think that French Florist is a very special brand. I think that we are all of those things, but that's not the way that we communicate because, again, those things are earned. So if we don't say we're the best quality, if we don't say we have the best customer service, and again, I think we do, but I think that's table stakes. I think that any good company has to have those things. So where does that leave us? Okay, well, let's look at our name, French Florist. We're not a French company. We're an American company. How in the world does that make sense, right? We are an American company, but we borrow a lot of the principles from the European way and specifically the French way of living as it relates to flowers. We think, if I'm allowed to say something controversial, Americans don't appreciate flowers as much as they should. If you look at the numbers, American flower buyers are buying for occasions, happy birthday, happy anniversary, happy Mother's Day. Europeans are buying from the bodega or from the farmer's market or from a local florist down the street and enjoying flowers in their life daily, if not daily, weekly. And they don't really view flowers as a nice to have. They view it as a way of life or a need to have. And I think we borrow a lot of the principles. There's a saying out there that's art is not a luxury. I don't think flowers are a luxury either. I think they're a need to have because even if you take American culture for what it is today, if you are sending for a happy birthday, if you are sending for an anniversary, even if you're sending for a funeral, something really sad, you're sending your condolences, what you're telling the person that you're giving flowers to is that you're thinking about them, that you care about them, that you love them. And love is the emotion. Flowers are love at the end of the day. And love is the most powerful human emotion that exists in our world. And that's the world, that's the industry that we get to work in. It's an amazing thing for us. And I don't think that love is a luxury. I think everybody deserves to have love. And flowers are a reminder that life can be beautiful, that the world can and is a loving place. And so, we push, instead of we're the best quality, instead of we're the best service, we say, buy flowers for your mother more than once a year. As a matter of fact, if you buy flowers for your mom on any other day except for Mother's Day, I think that reason, that on a random Tuesday, just because, that's going to be more meaningful to her than buying for a Hallmark holiday. So we're trying to take flowers and bring the European mentality a little bit more to America, where flowers are a way of life. I think people know how special flowers are, and we're just helping remind them, because I think we've forgotten a little bit, especially maybe in the age of automation and technology. So we're excited to be in our space. That's how we think about flowers. We think that it's not even really about our brand. We just want you to buy more flowers. And because we understand how special flowers are, if you do trust us to deliver your order, we're going to do that with a lot of responsibility and a lot of weight and a lot of care. With any business, there are fundamental best practices, right? You have to have your financials have to work. You have to have great technology in place, really solid supply chain, good marketing, good infrastructure and operating on the inside of the company. Culture. Culture is a very important thing. I've learned more and more through time. And so let's talk about technology. I think that a lot of people that look at the inside of our company, that come into one of our stores and really look under the hood, they're like, wow, you guys are kind of like a tech company. You guys are operating off of all of the designers have iPads. They come in, the orders are all on the iPad, the recipes are there, there's beautiful photos, the card message, so they understand what kind of arrangement they're designing. All of the infrastructure and that they need, it's really digitized and put together with a lot of, I guess, like complex logic in the system, but the user interface is very, very simple to use. So anybody can pick up the iPad and pretty much without any training should be able to use it. So we're not a tech company though. We're a flower company. And how do we infuse technology into our industry? Because we're a flower company, we're not a tech company. Um, I think that we're highly tech enabled and we use technology in order to help deliver a better client experience. And when it comes to inward facing technology, we can't deliver a great client experience if our internal team members, it's a little bit like fill your own cup or put on your own air mask before you put on somebody else's. Like you're not going to be able to take care of somebody else if you're not okay. If your company's not fundamentally strong on the inside, that's going to bleed into the client experience. It just is. So we build a lot of internal facing technology that nobody ever really sees. It's a little bit of how the magic is really created from the finally when the arrangement is created or delivered on the consumer experience side. People say, wow, it's such a smooth experience. It's because there's really remarkable technology that helps support that on the inside. But it allows the designers to not do the boring administrative tasks of needing to print out the paper and write down the recipe and try to track inventory. All of it is automated, digitized. We have predictive inventory and analytics to make the flower buyer's job really easy. When the order's completed, the driver gets notified. They have their own system, picks it up, delivers it, takes a photo, gets uploaded, sent to the client. Like fully automated, right? Everybody's job is done super, super easily so they can focus on the most important thing, creating the best client experience, the best floral experience, buying and receiving flowers that you possibly can. That's a little bit about how we view technology and how we utilize it. As we grow the organization, especially, how do we avoid becoming one of those huge giant companies where everything is, you put so much technology in place that it's over automated and it feels really sterile. There's no more human connection. Where did the love go? You're viewing your clients like their numbers. That's not our industry. That's not who we want to be. So how do we protect against that? As a small company, it was relatively easy to do that, right? But as a bigger company, we have choices to make every day on how much automation we want to lean into. Look, like we don't automate just to automate. When we do put in technology, we're trying to solve a pain point, right? The designer is spending a ton of time printing papers and doing administrative work. We're spending a lot on printer ink, right? So maybe there's a financial burden there. Putting in a more digitized solution could save a lot of people time, could save us money. So we're solving pain. What we don't need to do is have an AI robot pick up the phone. Not yet, at least, right? Because it's not as good of an experience. And I think that when a person, not only when a person picks up the phone, but when a person picks up the phone quickly, I think when you're put on hold for 2 or 3 minutes, that's just not a great experience. So how do we design a system and utilize technology and people, put the power of both together? Because people are very powerful. I think people underestimate how powerful humans are. I think we understand technology, but people, and you combine the two, right? So we can have a phone software system that allows us to understand who's calling in, what's their order history is, maybe this is their first time ordering with us, and giving that information to the client service rep or the customer experience rep before that person even picks up the phone, and have that person pick up the phone extraordinarily quickly. So all of these things we have to be very thoughtful of how do we make sure that we're in the industry of love, we're in the industry of connection. How do we make sure that our clients feel that as we grow as well? So it's not one kind of silver bullet on how to solve that issue. It's a decision that we make every single time anything ever comes up. So, what does the client experience look like? Do we send a handwritten card to our first time clients, thanking them for ordering? Most would argue that that's not a scalable thing. I beg to differ. I think that that's an extraordinarily important thing to remind them that these are artisans and folks that are mastering the art of design and pouring their souls. I mean, they really are the magic behind the brand, our designers. They put their soul into a happy birthday or a sympathy piece or an anniversary or a just because piece, and they deliver that experience. And I think having a handwritten card with that kind of reminds both the sender and the receiver how special that moment is. So yeah, I don't have a silver bullet answer to how we protect against becoming a over automated, boring company, but I think just infusing that in the culture and making sure that's not just my responsibility to hold that, but making sure that every single person in the organization fundamentally understands that they're responsible for. And they know that. I mean, folks that work in this industry, they know that. So it doesn't have to be taught. It's people know it. But that authenticity of connection and valuing connection is a really important thing for us in our industry. So it turns out if you build a company that has a good tech infrastructure, good financial infrastructure, good operations and supply chain, good marketing, then you layer on top of it a really healthy culture and you get your team health to be in a really strong place, you have really strong bones and that your clients start to experience that. And so for us, if you want a more pragmatic response and towards like, what does that mean for our company or what would that mean for you if you started to infuse that kind of thinking? In our experience, at least, we took this flower shop from doing 600K in revenue and it was losing money to over 9 million revenue in a single 3,000 square foot facility. And so we started to do well. We maxed out our space in that one shop. There's no way that we could even put a single dollar of revenue more. So we opened a second location. That location did over $1 million of revenue in its first year. The average flower shop, by the way, does about 300 to 350K, and that's sometimes after 10 or 15 years of operating. So we opened the second unit, did over $1 million in the first year. We opened a third unit, it did even better. And we said, all right, what are we doing here, right? We did build some really beautiful technology. We had the ability to really become a tech company that we ultimately chose not to be because it's just not the industry. That's not who we are. But we could license that tech to other florists. An alternative was we could open up a ton of corporate locations, right? And then the third was franchising. Now, I have kind of still to this day, I kind of have a negative stigma with the word franchising. I think most franchise companies out there, if I'm allowed to say this, I'll be polite and say less than great. I think there are some great franchise companies out there. I think Chick-fil-A has a very interesting model. I think Orange Theory Fitness is an interesting one as well. So I think similar to how we kind of we look at the floral industry and have we've challenged a lot of folks to think a little bit different about how we think the floral industry should operate. I think we're doing the same thing in franchising. And we've found that franchising allows us to put local owner operators into these stores instead of managers. I mean, even if we're paying a manager 90 or 100K, if you have a franchise owner that's in that location, probably making a lot more than that too, that's going to actually result in creating a better client experience, right? So every decision we make, just to reiterate, every decision we make is what's going to be best for our client experience, right? And so it's not even necessarily what's going to make us the most money, but the result of making those decisions has been the company has been very profitable. We continue to grow and have the privilege of doing that. And so uh, to this day, we will have about 40 locations open by the end of 2026. Uh, um, and it's not a result of focusing on the financials. I can promise you that. The financials have been a means and kind of a result of focusing on everything else. Um, just building a great company and building real value in the marketplace, treating our team the right way, and everything else kind of falls into place. We have a company that's doing really well, and we've talked about how money can be fuel to service the mission. So what is our mission? Our mission at French Florist, at least, is to create a more loving world. And that doesn't, we do think very much that flowers are the absolutely most wonderful just the best gift that you can give somebody to show someone that you love them. I can't think of a better gift. I think that you could give them a diamond, I guess, but I think flowers are better than diamonds. And so look, I think that's great, but now we have a company that's really profitable, and how do we service that mission? How do we take our profitability and go above and beyond? We have created a few social responsibility programs. We're the founding partners of an organization called the Little Miracles Foundation, and they help orphans and orphanages in need. And we're starting to introduce a Charity of the Month. In October, we had the Power of Pink for breast cancer awareness. So we're finding different ways where we can help even outside of the floral industry. And it's been a really nice thing because our clients really appreciate that we're going and doing work outside of the floral industry as well to service that mission of creating a more loving world. I don't think we're slowing down anytime soon. We're just getting started with some of those efforts, actually. You know, when I first graduated college, I probably, like a lot of people listening, you've always had that entrepreneurial spirit, fire in your belly where you want to go and do something with it. I didn't want to take the risk right out of college, so I joined a super boring corporate consulting job, and I did that for a little while, but I didn't last that long. And I'm super happy that I made the jump. I think that anytime that you lean into your gut, you lean into your heart, and you back it up with logic too, right? Like combine all of them. I think they're all great. The results for us, you know, not to say there haven't been their ups and downs. I think with anything, there are ups and downs. I think that if you're going backwards in life, it's stressful. I think if you're stagnant in a corporate job, it's stressful. I think if you're starting your own business, it's stressful. Even if we're super profitable and it's still stressful, right? Like choose which stressful you want. I'd rather have the last one. So, you know, I would encourage folks to lean into it, do it in a responsible way. Anybody who ever wants to chat with us about it can, if you're interested in the franchise program, you can certainly reach out and you can find us online. But beyond that, happy to be of service. There's been a lot of folks that have been a coach or a mentor or advisor or just a sounding board if I have any ideas. And you can feel free to reach out to us, and we're happy to chat about anything if you want.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskarik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community, elevate your perspective, and embark on the path to success.